good evening, good evening, everybody. And welcome to Black Talk Platform, where we discuss all things concerning the Black community, family, faith, finances, justice. If you know me, you know that I am a tireless, fearless, um, social justice fighter, activist, advocate, and I'm unapologetically Black about it. And tonight is no different. I'm really excited about tonight's show, but as I'm waiting for my guests, and I have several guests tonight to arrive, I want to make an announcement to the Black Talk Platform family. I want to thank you all for always supporting this platform. Whether you're on Facebook, which is the core group of audience members, and you've been with me for the longest time, we're not going away, but we are shifting. My fall schedule has changed, and I am no longer able to record live shows on Tuesday evenings. And so, in a way, you're going to benefit from getting more. It's just that there won't be live shows on Tuesdays, but there will be shows that have been pre recorded with guests. And on Fridays at 7 p.m., before you all go out and do whatever you do, I will be having a live show beginning next month in October. On first Fridays, a frequent co-host and guest will be joining me on first Fridays, and that will of the month, and that will be in the person of Pastor Anthony Davis, a colleague, a friend. We are in these streets together on behalf of the community and on behalf of the people doing this work together, and he's going to be a standing guest on the first Friday of the month. Whoever that is. Oh, Reps, hi, thank you, my sister. Thank you. Everybody come on in. I see one of my guests who's actually not supposed to be over in the audience, but supposed to come on in, because we want to talk about this great movement that is happening. Just as a recap, for those who have been following me for a long time and those who know me in real life, you know that all my work has been centered in social justice, specifically around restorative justice for um, the formerly incarcerated and their families, and around criminal justice reform, specifically NYPD police reform. That work continues. But what I realized is that a couple of years ago, economists, left leaning, right leaning, all came to one conclusion. And that conclusion was and is that by the year 2053, the Black net worth will be zero. And I had to sit with that for a moment and evaluate how effective my advocacy in this one area was going to be for the whole. And let me give you an example. So, yes, I continue to work on behalf of the formerly incarcerated and their families. And for those who are returning citizens preparing to return, I continue to do that work because it's very important. Oh, hi. It's very important work. But guess what? If they return home and to their families or not to their families, and by the time we get to 2053, we have no wealth, they could be they could recidivize. And that is what my work had been about, making sure that they had the type of connection in their communities that would discourage any recidivism. So I had to sit with that zero number, and then I had to think about myself and my children and the children that they may have one day, and then their children. If you're a biblical believer like I am, I believe that we're supposed to prepare for 4 generations out. 2053 is not 4 generations out necessarily, but we're supposed to ensure that even our own children, and those of you who have children already or grandchildren, can sustain themselves. So I had to look at my work as a restorative justice expert in a broader sense. I had to reach out. And so what I started doing was the Black News Network closed down. So Sable Network TV, which is still around, guys. It's just not active right now. Um, I realized that I could fill a gap, right? So I started spending more time on Twitter because Twitter, I don't care what news outlet you watch, your local news or the what do you call it, the cable news channels, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, any of those, they always break their news on Twitter first. That's just how it rolls. So when I got there, I started finding people who I share so much in common with. And to be honest with you, I'm going to be very honest with you. For those of you who know me from Facebook a lot, I'm there. I'm there every day. But I am not there like I used to be because the atmosphere there became very toxic for me. Um People who literally know me and have known me for 20 years, and I've said this before, they were offended because I was speaking truth to power. And these are some of the same people who say you're supposed to always speak truth to power. And so then it made me realize that, are we even speaking the same truth? If you're telling me I can't criticize these political people because they're affiliated with the party that you're affiliated with, and if you're telling me that I cannot be against vaccine mandates and I need to shut up and dribble, I have a problem with that. It became toxic for me. So when I saw the Black News Network fold and realized that I could close a gap, I go over to Twitter and I found all these wonderful people who I had not really been engaging with because I was over there for business mostly. And I've been over there since almost the beginning of Twitter. But this became more meaningful and it made more sense to me to just keep working in the media aspect of it all, finding the stories that appeal to our community. And that's what I found. And that's what I found with the guest that I have on tonight. To be sure, the reparations movement is a vast one. It is not one of a monolithic tone. We are all over the country. All 50 states are represented, but we don't all see getting there in the same exact way. But one thing we do agree about, and let me be very clear, is that Blackness is something that we are retaking in terms of identification, right? We believe that reparations should be lineage based. And what do I mean when I say lineage based? I mean that it should be for descendants of enslaved people in the United States. It's that simple. That would be me. That would be all of my guests tonight. And we're not here to argue with anyone who disagrees with us because we're very clear. And regardless of the method that we use to get to reparations, that is one thing that we all agree on all day and every day. Let me give you another example. Back in March, I had attorney Camilla V. Moore on because she is the chairperson of the California Task Force for Reparations. Guess what? Everyone who's here tonight and everyone who I communicate with in the reparations movement, we all agree that we're supporting her work and the work of her task force. Why? Because they are doing what we all believe needs to be done. And it's led me to these wonderful guests who will be coming in tonight. They too are doing a marvelous work in the reparation space. To be sure, they all have their individual work, they all have their community activism, but then they decided we've been Twitter activists, but we're going to do more and with others on the ground in our locales. And so tonight, I'm so happy to present them to you because these are the United States organizers of the September 2022 pull-up. I want to bring on like someone who is well respected. They all are in their own step, but I want to bring her on first because she's very humble in saying that she is not a leader. But in my opinion, I see her as that. And so if she is still there, I've lost her visual. Oh, everybody's coming in. I've lost her visual. So I see, oh gosh, let me see. Who do I see? I see Pretty Heaven. So I'm going to bring you on, Heaven, because I see you right now. And I see Brother A-Dub. A-W. So listen, we're going to just do it with the faces that I see. And then I'm going to just bring everybody on. Heaven, let me hold on for 1 minute because A-Dub, unless you're also in Detroit. Are you in Detroit as well? Okay, let me bring him on first because I'm very excited to hear about the work that he's already done. So, from what I remember, but everyone is going to speak for themselves in their own states. What I remember is that they were trying to all coordinate it and let it be nationwide September 17 pull up. But everybody's state is different. And so, Brother AW, he did his first, and he's from Detroit. And I'm going to bring him on right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Black Talk Platform. My brother, how are you?
I'm doing very great. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much. I'm blessed to be here. Just thank you again.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So happy to have you. I was able, okay. So I guess we really, really, really need to have you introduce yourself. Guys in the audience, I'm really excited to have them all here. And so I'm going to try to stick to the script so we can maximize the time that we have with them all. Brother AW, he's already done his pull up in Detroit. It was against the backdrop of other events already scheduled there, but it was nevertheless a success. And I love that about your specific pull up. And we'll get to the reason why you all are doing this in a minute. But I love the way you were able to quickly pivot and make an event that was already scheduled your own for the purpose of educating and raising awareness about reparations. Please, please tell us all about why you all are doing the pull-ups, and then why what made you pivot, and how did you think, they didn't give me a permit per se, but I'm gonna piggyback off of this event here. Tell us about the Detroit pull-up, please.
Okay, well, simple and short. There's a task force going on in Detroit. And for the past couple months, I've been following city council and things of that nature. And so the grassroots activists and community through hashtags of reparations and delineation of months of spaces and galvanizing and things of that nature, we were able to agree that, hey, we need to pull up and hear our and let the people hear our demands. And so I want to send a special shout out to Yaya. And so I met some people on Twitter that easily knew that we need to galvanize and form an event. And we pulled up to state capitol, council buildings, wherever we just needed to just get the message out and spread awareness about the things that are really important pertaining to reparations.
Yes, excellent, excellent, I love it. So you all pulled this together in like less than 3 months, or about 3 months, right? Nationwide, is that correct?
Yes,
About
absolutely.
Okay, great. Tell us, and I'm really anxious for you to share about how your event went, because I want people to be empowered and encouraged to, you know what? Excuse me. Sometimes we might have to modify our plans, but we can still get it done. So tell us about the event that you piggybacked off.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jazz Fest. They haven't had it in a couple years. They had it. They have it every Labor Day weekend for the past 40, 50 years in Detroit. So by being September, it was the first event, and it was easy for me to realize it's a free event. It's 4 days, and I know that these are hardworking, foundational Black Americans and people still in the city coming out because of COVID and things of that nature have been shut down. So the weather was perfect. The weather was perfect. I got great feedback, and it wasn't hard. It wasn't difficult because I have been to the Jazz Fest in the past, and just being an impacted resident of the city, I could tell that it was just good for a lot of people to get out, to just finally be connected with people, and to just have great like-minded conversations in the city because there is hope for reparations in Detroit. So it was just good to not get not one negative feedback, to vet the vendors, to vet the musicians, and to make it annual to where next year I really look forward to next year to where, hey, if you guys can come to Detroit Labor Day weekend, y'all are in for a blast.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, I think that's great. So how would so no negativity, and
Mm-hmm.
you were in this role of educating as well as enjoying and having great exchanges with others.
Mm-hmm.
How did were you able to get a sense of the people's awareness before you started sharing, even though we know you just said that there's a task force forming there?
Mm-hmm.
Were people aware of this movement that we all are a part of, and the need for it?
Honestly, no. Sometimes people were asking me, was I a part of a group? So there was a lot of awareness, just a lightening to the people. A lot of people didn't know about the task force. Some people were asking how could they apply, where do they go next, what's my name, how could they reach me directly too. So it wasn't hard to really plant the seed of saying, this is what reparations is coming, or what's it looking like for Detroit and the task force. Just educating people to know, there's hope for an 80% black city. This is our repair now, and it needs to be specifically delineation, just all of our pinpoints. And like I said, it was just no negative feedback. It was almost like I would walk away and sometimes realize that people are still watching me pass out flyers, and I would see them day 4 and day 3, and they're like, "Oh, I got one, but I thank you again, and I'm following, I support." And so, like I say, no negative feedback, just a lot of awareness and educating on our own people that reparations are coming, and it's an agenda. It's not just a check; it's just part of our repair.
I love it. So since you brought up one of the 5 points around which you all are doing these pull-ups, delineation, can you explain to the audience, because we're actually doing some education here too, especially to my Facebook family, friends and followers. Hi everyone, and thank you all for being here. This is a true educational event tonight. Tell us a little bit about delineation.
Well, to me, delineation is being very specific about um, my lineage, a group of people, and it goes back to the census of reclassification, learning that we were reclassified from Negro to Afro American to colored, just so many times. And I think doing your lineage, or just doing my lineage, I learned that, going all the way back, Negroes, and just as far as I could, just to learn how many times we've been reclassified, and to be very specific, because I do realize that, just being black, there is a flat blackness that comes with that, and a lot of other things. But just understanding reclassification is what delineation means, is a lot to me. It's just understanding how we've been reclassified in my lineage.
Okay. Awesome, awesome. And then I'll give others an opportunity if they want to share a little bit more about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I think what I just took from what you just said is that this was a learning experience for you, the delineation piece. And once you got it, you got it. And I think it's very important in the whole process. And this was hard fought in the California task force, but I don't want to get into California's business because I believe Yaya is here. um, I don't know why I'm not able to see the panel down beneath. Heaven, I did not forget you. I'm just trying to find Yaya to bring her on. Is that you right there? I don't know what's going on. Let me change the they are not letting me. Gosh darn it. I'm going to Immortal is here, but he just dropped off. Okay, Third Coast is here. Heaven is there. I can't add you guys. Why can't I add you guys? Hold on. Put that back. Having trouble adding you guys. Actually, I can't see Heaven or Third Coast. I can see Conscious and Hi Conscious. Conscious, I mean. I see they're not letting me get these other guys in here. I can't see who's at the bottom. It's very weird. Okay. I see Miss Fly Girl. Hi. Uh, there's only one other person at the bottom. Do me a favor. Trying to let me I this is not, if you're in contact with Third Coast, let him know I'm just kicking him out so I can see the people at the bottom and he can come back in because I can't see him anyway. Okay. All right. I see Purple Doll. There's still 2 people at the bottom. AW. Yeah. I'm trying to get to you, yeah. I think I see you, but you're not letting me bring you up. Purple Doll, are you there? I don't see you anymore. This is crazy. This is really crazy. All right, I'm gonna remove Purple Doll too, so that y'all can move up, and then come back in, please, Purple Doll. I see Marcus. They won't let me bring you in. Hi. So you know what? Let me just go ahead. AW, do me a favor. I'm gonna let you go too, so I can bring Yaya up. I don't know why we're having this difficult time here, because the information must be shared. She says she can't see herself. All right, Yaya. Until you can see yourself, let me go ahead with the three I can see right here, and then I'm gonna bring you in because we definitely want to hear from you. All right, Conscious. I'm gonna bring you up. Are you ready? All right. Hello. How are you?
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me good?
Yes, very clear. How are you? And welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to spread the message of the pull-ups. I'm very appreciative of it. So
Absolutely.
I got my brand on, conscious outlaw always. This is my whole thing. It's a lot to my mask, but let's go ahead and get on to the subject matter.
Okay. So, Conscious, tell us which state are you representing, state and city?
I'm representing, well, Missouri and Kansas. We call it the Mo Can Pull Up. I'm actually from St. Louis, Missouri, but we're pulling up in Kansas City, Missouri, because Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas is a twin split city. And so
Hmm.
we just put the Kansas and Missouri together. And instead of meeting at the state capitals, for the simple fact that it's very difficult to get to those middle, the state capital is Jefferson City, in between St. Louis and Kansas City. And traditionally, all of the foundational Black Americans, whatever you want to call yourself, indigenous, freedmen, whatever, they live in Kansas City and St. Louis. And so through Reconstruction, when they made it a state, they strategically put Jefferson City in the middle of the state to keep black people from going there in case of a situation where we want to pull up like this. So we thought in this situation, in our initial pull up, we want to pull up in a metropolitan area where we are have numbers, and because we're just trying to we want everybody to be safe, and we want to just make awareness. And it was very difficult to get people from my city, St. Louis, to come out. So we decided to move our specific pull up to Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow. So that's interesting to me that you had difficulty getting people to come out is in St. Louis, which is in a lot of ways the hub of a lot of our activism in these last few years, right? With Michael Brown's
Hmm.
murder. So
Yes.
do you have any sense of why that was more difficult?
Well, I'm actually a little background by myself. I grew up in Ferguson, Missouri. I moved there in 1984 when I was like 6 years old. I lived there till 2000, and then my children had apartments around the area of when Michael Brown was unfortunately murdered. And it's very difficult to galvanize here because of the situation where activists have actually been mysteriously disappeared, murdered, burned up, shot. Darren Seals is one that we all heard about, and that's also kind of the reason for the me being kind of
Cognito.
strategic with my identity. People know me like they see me, but as going forward, I'm very careful with my identity and stuff like that. So that's what it is. It's a lot of shell shockness there. It's a lot of what's the word? People are really are scared basically.
Okay.
They know it's been a lot of violence and shell shock, and it's just hard to galvanize right here, right now. And that's why I'm trying to lead up, head it up, and give people courage and let them know that this is where it started and this is where we need to continue going on forward.
Okay. I totally understand. And I think sometimes I know for myself, always being like out there and like mixing stuff up. And this was why my children were growing up and they were always so concerned about me. And then I live in a state where it's not easy to get protection, if you know what I mean. Even with the new Supreme Court ruling, it's still not going to be very easy. So, and I'm out late at night. So I totally understand the fear that people might have. But I understand also that you all being the leaders of these nationwide, statewide pull-ups, even if it's not at the Capitol, Jackson, you all are putting yourselves out there. I get it. I get it. And I appreciate you all for doing so. So yours is this coming Saturday, the 17th?
No, 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 no. Ours is going to be on the 25th, and I had to make also. We're not leaders. We're civic organizers. The code is the leader. The lineage is the leader. We are just simple people that galvanize under the same specific traumas through slavery, through slavery, through Jim Crow, through all the things atrocities ever since this has been a nation. So the code is the leader. We're just organizers. We're all normal people with 9 to 5 jobs, families, and stuff like that.
Okay. Tell the audience what the code is so they can understand when they misunderstand what the code is.
Well, the code is the understanding that there is no leader, there is no one person, because we've had the past experiences with like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, that people galvanize around one person and that person gets targeted, their family's in jeopardy. So the code is just understanding how to do simple things like the black code, like we don't speak out against each other, we don't do violence to each other, we don't work against our interests, and we all have a shared interest. That's the basic code. I wish I had a wrote that down so I could be more specific. But the
No,
basic code: don't speak out against each other in public. If we do have a problem, keeping it closed doors. Everyone make sure that no one is the leader. That's the basic code. There is no leader. There is
that-
just a shared experience through Jim Crow, through the 500 years of genocide, and we all have the specific lineage that ties us back to the country's beginning. Some of us, for instance, before the beginning, but specifically after Reconstruction.
Gotcha. No, I appreciate that. And I think it's important that this distinction is being made because, as I said at the top of the show, we are all over the country. We do not speak in a unilateral voice. I'll say that, but around, as you said, the code of fighting for lineage-based reparations for descendants of enslaved people. That's where we all agree, and we do not deviate from that. And that's why we're putting all of our energy behind the work of Chairwoman Camilla V. Moore. And that's why we're going to do the same, hopefully in Detroit. I hope you are selected, AW. And then, of course, the work that Sister Dawn is doing down in North Carolina. We are supporting all of the good energy folks and their leadership, Sister Dawn Alston. Thank you. So AW talked about the first delineation. Now, can you talk about reparations a little bit? And I'm just going down the line. So everybody get ready because I'm going to try to get something from each of you on the 5 issues.
Yeah, okay. So reparations also, it's not just people that were descended from slaves. It's also people that have suffered for Jim Crow, because some we and indigenous people that have had land stolen. So reparations is more than just cash payments. It's all kinds. It's repair. I'm gonna let Marcus go on a little bit more about the actual reparations part, but it's not just cash payments. It's not a handout. It's a justice claim for wrongs done to our ancestors.
Yeah, okay. Awesome, awesome. And I think that's very important that people understand or know. Um, and consider, especially our elected officials, because your pull-ups is a legislative move. You all are looking for legislative justice, and I love it because the reality is, we gain by the process of policy, elected officials, and we are now no longer in a position where we are just giving our votes to the party that's always said that they were for us. We're considering everyone who speaks our language. And that's not going to be every black person, but that's this group of people. That's us. This and the movement, the reparations movement is much larger than those of us represented tonight. But we've just determined in ourselves that if you're not speaking about issues specifically that are going to help Black Americans, and the reason why people hate us saying that is because we've really never said it. We've never required anything specific for ourselves. We've just taken the crumbs that they've given us, and even the crumbs are eaten up by the rats before we're able to even get to them. And we're just saying we're tired of that. No, No, for me, I'm very laser like focused on 2053. And what can we do before then? So when you say we're invited to Detroit next year, AW, that means that this is just the first one. There is intentionality around doing this until we see that needle change in the direction of making Black Americans whole. And we could go on and on, but we're only talking about the pull up tonight. I'm just getting a little excited, but look, you guys have done great. Let me put you all back in the green room while I bring up where did she go? Where did she go? Miss Fly Girl. I can't even see her now. But guys, I'm gonna drop you down, or you can drop yourself. No, let me drop you down so I can bring them up. I typically have one.
Okay, thanks again, Dr. Deborah. I
Thank
appreciate you.
you.
Love
Don't
you.
go away. Thank you
Okay.
so much. All righty. Where is she? Marcus is the only one I'm seeing right now. Heaven was there, and now I don't see. Okay, because I never have so many guests on at once. But Marcus, I'm going to bring you up. Marcus, are you from Alabama? Are you the brother from? Okay, tell me where you, what state
Can you
you're
hear
from.
me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I was born and raised in California, Southern California to be specific. So, shout out to the LA pull up. But I'm
Yes.
here in Ohio. I'm the executive director of Ohioans for Federal Reparations, and I am organizing the Ohio pull up.
Awesome. Yes, we communicated before. So tell us about your pull up. Is it, what day is it? I don't want to assume it's this Saturday. What day is
No,
it?
it's not this Saturday. It's September 24th. Thanks to brothers like A-Dub of already doing this pull up. We had to do a little bit of a pivot. We were going to do the State House in Columbus, but we've pivoted to what's considered the Black capital of Ohio, to Cleveland, Ohio. So yes, it's gonna be still gonna be September 24th, in Cleveland, Ohio. This is actually the first time anybody's hearing that it's gonna be in Cleveland. So yeah, this is the first official notice that it's changed to Cleveland from Columbus. But yeah, we're gonna be pulling up a little bit of what A-Dub did, but also a real focus on educating the public and pushing reparations education out to the city. There's a pandemic of Black bodies hitting the ground from police officers in Ohio, so that's also a focus here in Ohio of what we're doing. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And I think it's really good that you even, you know what, look, this is the first time things happen, and maybe you needed to be in Cleveland anyway. You know what I'm saying? A lot of work is done there too, and there are always legislators wherever you are. So kudos to you guys. How is it going in terms of getting the word out so that people can be there with you?
So the word, I will say that the promotion when the event was to Columbus was pretty well. I've received a lot of help. I can't sit here and say that I have not had a lot of help. I've had a lot of help from people who've reached out. Uh, the word getting switched to Cleveland, I'm not so sure. It really just changed within the last 72 hours. So I can't
Okay.
really gauge the Cleveland aspect of it. But for what's been going on in Columbus, the amount of people who reached out to help in Columbus, and the people who realized that there was going to be a pivot or audible, if you will, the amount of people who helped out and reached out then, I can't blame any. I can't. It's too much support. So wish I
Awesome.
had a little bit more financial support, but with the pivot, it's actually a lot cheaper. So everything's working out. It's almost like the ancestors have blessed this Ohio pull up. There's been a lot of storms, but we done came through all of them. So
All right. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Listen, listen, listen. I see you, Heaven. I think I see you next to Marcus. Listen, there's always bumps and bruises, but you're still doing it, and I think that's what's important. And you actually, you're talking about justice not only for the five issues that you all are really galvanized around, but also we're not going to forget about the bodies dropping, like you said, from police officers. Talk about that a little bit more. Is it located primarily in Cleveland, or is it just across the state?
there's a statement that I'll have to paraphrase because I don't have it in front of me. But essentially, the statement reads, and this was written in 2020, that Columbus kills Black people higher than the rest of the state of Ohio, which kills Black people higher than the rest of the United States, which kills people higher than the rest of developed countries around the world, which lets you know how often that the police here kill specifically Black people. And it's not highlighted because Ohio at the time still, I don't know if these numbers have changed since 2020, but the state does not kill unarmed people at the rates that the rest of the country does, but Black
Mhm.
people here get killed at rates higher When you switch it to just black people, the rates skyrocket and Ohio gets pushed to the top. So it's a pandemic, and it's something that a lot of people don't know. But when you can just name the Tamirs, the Jalen Walker who happened just this summer,
Yeah,
Donovan, it just happened. Like there's these brothers just died within the last few weeks. So there's a pandemic here, and we also have to raise awareness for that. So yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I was just about to ask you, wasn't that Tamir Rice's area also? Well, look, we're happy that you're doing it. I'm really very proud of all of you. I think I can see all of you now. I'm really very proud of you because you're actually doing stuff that had not been thought of before. So kudos to all of you. Listen, they can't all be here, but there are a lot of states represented here tonight, and I'm happy about your pivot. You're going to where our people are. And sometimes, I mean, I talk to people all the time, and reparations is just not something that people have conversations around the table about, and it should be. We have a lot of time between now and 2024, and you all know exactly what I mean when I say 2024. We have a whole lot of time to start educating people, inviting people who look just like us. I'll never forget when Marcel Dixon, a leading reparationist candidate down in South Carolina, he showed up he pulled up at one of Jim Clyburn's town halls or something. And when he started speaking, and it was mostly elders in that audience, right? I was just looking at their expression. I was looking at their facial expressions. Light bulbs were going on as he started rolling out about the heirs property and talking about the numbers that have been run by Dr. Darity and others as to how much we've lost and how much we are owed. And I could see light bulbs going on in their eyes. But what I did not see was a will to move away from what they've always known and who they've always trusted, though South Carolina remains the sixth poorest district in our nation. And so we have a lot of educating to do, and we don't have a whole lot of time, but we got to be committed to it. And so we stand with you in Cleveland, and I love the community that is being formed here by all of you pull up organizers. I think that's a better word than leader, I guess. Pull up organizers, because you have a ready team of people throughout the country who are willing to come in and help you. And so we are very happy about what you're getting ready to do on the 24th, is it?
Yeah,
You say the
Cleveland
24th?
will be on the 24th. I just wanted to add, what you said about reparations is really important. Again, what I advocate for with the organization, the 501(c)(4) I run, is about reparations, and I think that we also have to make sure that the conversation is not just that it's cash payments. It's more than cash payments. It's actual restorative justice, it's repair. Or as Dr. Darity put in his book, redress. I try to get people to understand the ARC method: acknowledgement, redress, and closure. That's essentially the lineage-based reparations that offer pushes for here in Ohio, which is for federal reparations. So, yes, I think we definitely need to have these conversations so that people don't have their own stigmas about reparations or assume they know what the conversation is about, and that they become aware of all these state bills that are in, like New York, New Jersey, California. Like, obviously, the focus is on California, but Narcan and Cobra are in other places, and the reparations. There's people who are doing reparations here in Cleveland. Reparations out Cleveland is a mutual aid uh, organization, but they call themselves reparationists. So we really have to have these conversations so that we know what's going on around the country. And so I appreciate you bringing us all on, and I thank you so much for all you've done for us.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt, and you're very welcome. And you know what? Let me just say this before I try to get somebody else on. And what I might end up having to do, and everyone who's already spoken, is just go out so I can see these other people. I don't know why I can't, but I know that there is an evil will that doesn't want all of you to speak tonight. But we're not. We're going to work through that. We're going to work past that. About redress, I'll never forget when Amy Coney Barrett was being questioned for her Supreme Court nomination. They asked her about the core, I think it's four. The one she forgot was redress. The one she forgot was redress. And that is really what we're dealing with. That's really a microcosm. Her one memory lapse about the Constitution, guys. This is codified within our Constitution, which is why we're fighting for reparations, because we're not trying to say anything that hasn't already been written into the document around which this nation exists, and that is redress. for harms caused by the government. And that is what we're going for. So thank you for sharing that, because we really need to use all the terms that we know will start to move the needle in the right direction. And I so thank you, Marcus, for being here. And we're here to support you. You just call and we're here. I'm going to ask you and Conscious to just drop out and come back in after I get Heaven and Yaya. I can see Yaya's hat, but I cannot see her whole face. And I want to get her up here and everyone else who's waiting. Guys, listen, we're going to have this. We're going to have this conversation. We're going to have this conversation because I think it's that important. Oh, I see Kayana also from in not also, but in Chicago. I keep seeing everybody, but Yaya's beyond. I can't see beyond Yaya's hat. So Heaven, are you there? I can't see you. You're not on screen. Okay, there you are. Let me bring Heaven up.
How you doing? How you doing?
How are you? How are you? And thank you for just being patient with me.
No
Let me
problem.
see if Purple Doll is there. Purple Doll, are you there? Kayana, let me see if I can bring you up. I'm trying to bring people up so I can move Yaya up. It's just crazy that I'm having this much difficulty. All right, so let me run through with them real quick, Yaya, and then I will bring you up. This is madness to me. I'm really upset because um they won't let us be great tonight, but we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. Heaven, talk to us. What state are you representing?
Hi, yeah, I'm representing Southern California. We're gonna be rallying on the 24th at the LA City Hall,
Oh, nice.
from 2 to 5.
All right, all right. And how are you getting the word out?
Definitely through social medias. We're on the ground, stomping, passing out flyers. I have a group of people that's representing for Southern California with me.
Awesome, awesome. You know what? I think I'm just wrong. I keep saying the 17th, but I'm thinking I'm in New York mode because the African American parade is this coming weekend. So you all weren't doing that weekend. You were doing the 24th always, right? Am I right? Because I've been
That's
wrong.
correct. Yeah,
I'm
all
so
the whole
sorry.
time. No,
I'm
it's
so
okay.
sorry,
And,
guys.
and we did have, like you talked to A-Dub, we had some people do it before the 24th, but that was the main date for originally.
Okay, okay. Because I keep saying everybody's saying 24th. I'm wrong. All right, so California is the place. It's like ground zero for reparations right now because of the great work that your task force is doing. Is that also the day that they're having one of their listening sessions, the task force?
They're gonna have a sit-in. You can go to the Paradise Baptist Church. It's located out here in Los Angeles, and I plan to be there. In my group, we're gonna be there for the 23rd and the 24th, and it's gonna be going from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. But
Okay.
the 24th is our time too, so we're gonna step in. We're gonna drop in on the 24th, but we will be back for our rally, which is gonna be at 2 o'clock.
Awesome. I love it. So you guys are going to be tired and busy, but this is
Yeah,
busy. This is good busy, right? This is
it's a
good
good
busy.
busy. Definitely, it's a good busy. The people needs to know that this information. A lot of people don't know about what's going on with the AB 3121, and people are really interested. So we have been galvanizing support throughout the city, and it looks like people really want to know the information. So I'm really ready for this rally to come and to continue on because this is not the end. We're going to continue to fight for reparations.
Awesome. My sister, who is a frequent guest here, I'm going to just share her message on the screen as she listens to all of you. So you probably just heard her say that they're going to, Heaven said that the task force will be meeting at Paradise Baptist Church out in LA on the 23rd and 24th, which is wonderful. They have not excluded the faith community. We have a whole lot of work to do right here in New York with where that's concerned. And so I'm rolling up my sleeves. I don't have any on, but I am rolling up my sleeves and getting ready. And you're right. We're not leaving people out there. They do perish for lack of knowledge. And that's what these guys and girls are doing. They are getting the message out. Juanita, they had their pull up in our state, in our home state, Alabama, yesterday. I'm not sure if anyone is here to talk about it today, but they had a great experience yesterday. So, Heaven, we've talked about delineation, we've talked about reparations. The third is immigration. Is that correct?
Yeah,
You
the
want to
immigration,
illegal
uh,
immigration specifically, right?
definitely, and also to put a cap and end birthright citizenship as well for immigration. Um, Illegal immigration is a problem, especially here in California, Southern California. We are a border state, so you know the border is right there. Some people don't want to talk about immigration; they think it's a taboo subject. But this is a legal crime. This is crime.
Mm,
You're violating the immigration laws, and
mhm.
it's a health hazard. It's unstable for the economy, and we want stronger borders. We support uh, better protection on the borders because it's people from the cartel that comes through here, in and out. And I feel also it's not being properly justified for everyone. Illegal immigration seems to only help white Latinos. You could, as you saw, maybe a few months ago, we saw some Haitians trying to cross the border and they got turned around. So only these white immigrants can come through in caravans, and over 4.9 million illegal immigrants has come into this country since Biden's been in office, and that's has to
I'm
stop.
sorry. Can you repeat that number, that figure again, please?
Yeah, 4.9 million illegal immigrants, migrants have come into the United States, and that's a problem. And a lot of people think about sanctuary towns and all that stuff, but it's affecting everybody in a negative way, and a lot of people are tired of just allowing this to happen, and it has to change. So we as a people, we need to stand up, and we need to report illegal activity. We have ICE, you can report it to them, and a lot of our stompers of the pull up are already doing that, and getting that information out to people, because I guess we feel like we don't know what to do when it comes to illegal activity as far as these immigrants coming in, but it's a way, and we're going to also give that information to the people, especially at the pull up.
So I asked her to tell us that number, that figure again, because I'm in a sanctuary city too, New York City, and or sanctuary state actually, and it's never really bothered me. But I was in a space earlier today. Rest in peace, and prayers and condolences to PNB Rock's family. So I was in a space that was hosted by people from the West Coast, from LA actually, and Sister Nordis, the one who went to 105 to protest, she was giving some statistics about your law enforcement out there, how it's primarily Latino, Mexican, and Asian, and and someone else in that space said it's very difficult for African Americans to get hired. And I've been watching the incidences of crime out there and how the police handle it. And it seems always to me anyway, that it's a lot of the Mexican American police who are being very heavy handed with Black Americans. But to your point about the 4.9 million illegal immigrants who have come in to the country since President Biden has been the president, and then to hear Stacey Abrams say that, I think she just said in a speech she was giving, that illegal immigrants should be given all the rights that American citizens are given. And then, of course, the vice president said something very similar. There seems to be a movement towards just open borders, period. And they probably don't verbalize it because they're going to get a lot of pushback from the Republicans. So you all have made this one of your rallying cry issues as you're doing these pull-ups, because you've seen the data, you've also experienced the harm to your families with employment and other types of services. So this is not at all frivolous. This is not even about we don't like them. This is about the harm that it's causing to Black Americans. And on that note, I'm gonna, because I finally got her here, have her on the screen, I'm going to invite Yaya into the conversation. Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me get a better view for us so that you can have some like or let me see if I can just bring you up here, front and center. Hello, front and center. How are you?
Wow. Hi, how are you? Good evening.
I'm great. Welcome, welcome, and happy belated birthday to you, busy woman that you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Virgo season. What a
Well,
Virgo.
that's not the best season. The one right before it was the best, but it's okay. It's okay. Oh gosh, I'm messing with her and she's breaking up. So let me
Oh,
see if I can keep to the business that we're here for.
yes.
No. Have the best birthday ever. Let me get right to it because I don't know what's happening with the connection. Can you pick up where Heaven left off in talking about illegal immigration? Because I think I've definitely I heard you back in the spring at one of the hearings for the task force. You talked about your lineage, and I love it because shortly after that is when they decided, after some back and forth, and it was very tense, to go with lineage-based reparations. Awesome. That's a huge win for us. But also, I've seen you might have been in that space, and I may have got to this earlier today about PNB Rock, and you are out there, so you could speak more to the immigration, the illegal immigration issue from your vantage point and your children and just your community in in California.
Yes. I'm actually in Northern California, and Heaven is in Southern California.
So
Um,
California is so large, they split up the pull-ups, right?
yes. California pretty much covers the entire eastern seaboard. So pretty much think from Connecticut almost all the way down to Florida.
Mm.
The vast area that California covers on the West Coast. So we're
Wow.
quite out here.
Yeah. So well, let me back up before you pick up where Heaven left off about that third point. Tell us why you got involved with this at this level. As I said before, I know you all do your own activism, you all do your organizing, you all do social justice work. But what made you want to do something like this for Northern California, the pull up, that is?
What I saw, as you know, California, we have our reparations task force and their study that they have been doing. And in these Twitter spaces in January, we had some brothers from Secure the Tribe that asked a question. And their question was, how has immigration affected the Black community? All immigration, not from the diaspora, but all immigration. How has it affected the community? And so I'll talk now from Northern California, how
Okay.
it affected us. Majority of all our counties in Northern California are all sanctuary counties. That means once you get here, you're safe. How has that affected me? On many different levels. For instance, employment wise in California, the majority of families that live in California are working more than one job. We're one of the most expensive places in the world to live. And so in California, we had things like, say, in the North Bay, where we live, we have the Warriors, we have the 49ers, we have the Oakland A's, we have the Sacramento Kings, we have the San Jose hockey team, the Sharks. We have, like a lot of people have, McDonald's and Burger Kings. We have airports. We have Sacramento, San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose. And I bring those industries up for a reason because those industries were all entry level industries for our high school students and our college students to work those jobs while in school, helping supplement income for themselves going through college and supplementing their income being students in high school at the senior level. For us in the Bay Area, all those jobs now have been monopolized by the immigrant population. So your children are no longer getting jobs at McDonald's and Burger King's out of high school and college. They're no longer able to work for the teams in the concession stands where to be popcorn guys and popcorn girls. Now it's elderly immigrant men, Filipino men, Latino men, people from the diaspora, entire older population. And what that population has done is they have professionalized entry level jobs. So now, who would want to deal with a high school kid that may not be able to go to work on Friday because he has finals when you have a senior person who's in their 60s who can come and work that job full time? They're not
Wow.
going to increase wages. They're not going to fight for the entry level positions and the secure of the other students there, you know. So they've taken that entire aspect out. Also, here in California, we deal with getaway immigration. That means people enter the country in California and they disappear, and we don't know who these people are. We don't know if we're getting sexual predators. We don't know if we're getting drug cartel. We don't know that. But we do know that because our gang population has increased significantly
Wow.
in the state of California. And majority of these gang members are immigrant children, first generation and second generation. So we're smothering in California. We also have a problem in California, specifically Northern California, where immigrants are coming and leaving their children at the border and then going back. And so now we have an influx of children who are coming into our child welfare system without their parents. So it's not so much a separation at the border, but we actually have now where men and women were moving into the country. In California, we're getting children moving into the country, and they're being funneled through our foster system. Um, Now the question in California is California making money off of the children coming? Because people are adopting these children out and they're getting paid for special um, pricing for having immigrant children.
Oh my goodness. For me, she just broke news. And I'm so glad that you gave concrete examples of what the problem really is, because we will easily be dismissed as being hateful. But what she's just said is that her children, my children, your children are being eliminated from opportunities for employment for what has been for so many decades, literal decades, a rites of passage into employment for young Black children and other children too. But she's talking about our children. Look, I'm very unapologetically Black. It's not that I hate anybody else, but I'm really about my own people. So this right now, we're only talking about Black children. And so if they're not able to work, it becomes a domino effect, right? They're not able to work. As she said, we all know how expensive it is to live in California. Most of us never even think about living out there, right? Unless we come with a million, which we're not. So we're not really thinking about it because we already know that you all are having, a lot of people are having a difficult time making a living out there. I did not know about multiple jobs because I always think of my home, like Alabama, my friends, they always had to have more than one job. And it's not as expensive. It's nowhere in the neighborhood of California. But back to all of the examples she just laid out about why illegal immigration is really smothering Black Americans. And you know what? I need y'all to hear me. The politicians won't even entertain what she just shared with us. And that's so very frustrating because I've already said the vice president just made a statement. we know, according to what Heaven just shared with us, 4.9 million illegal immigrants have come into the country since the Biden administration, since President Biden became the president. And we also know that Stacey Abrams is running on, oh, they illegal immigrants should have all the same rights as citizens. So why do we need a country if everybody's going to get everything, right? But the reality is, everybody isn't getting everything. There are pockets of money set aside for those who serve illegal immigrants, and it's really unfair because ultimately we really are paying, right, as citizens. And I know that there's someone out there saying, "What is she talking about? The illegal immigrants, they also pay taxes." I understand that. I understand that. But guess who's paying the taxes that affords them the opportunity to go to school, to even work here? So we're just talking about the broader picture, that because of the propaganda of the Democratic Party, I'm going to go on and say it for those who may not understand, that there is a problem with the Democratic Party, just as there is a problem with the Republican Party. But right now, the Democratic Party, if Yaya wanted to go in, or Heaven wanted to go in to their elected officials, they wouldn't probably get past the security guard downstairs. They wouldn't even get to the offices, because the Democratic Party is walking in lockstep around illegal immigration, and it's really not fair on a general basis. It's just not, and so that is why they've made illegal immigration reform one of their rallying issues. Am I correct about that?
Yes. Another problem that we have a large Latino immigration problem here in the Bay Area. And the sex offenders list,
Mm.
just literally by the month, 5 more sex offenders, all Latino names. Coming into the communities up here. And so we're dealing a lot with child trafficking, sex trafficking, kidnapping. We're constantly having an Amber Alert. Uh, and so we're dealing with that on a sexual predator uh, stance too. And people are not able to locate, not in the system. They've snuck over the border. They're living with family members. They're transient within the country, and that's dangerous.
That is very dangerous, and it's scary. It's really scary, because now we have to have more eyes than we've already been allotted, for different viewpoints, right? We have to also, because we don't know why they're leaving their country. And what we've been told and propagandized to believe is that they're all coming here for a better life, because of the atrocities, or the destabilization that our country, and we know it's true, has put on their countries. But not so much in Mexico, right? Not as in Mexico as, say, in Honduras and some other places. But the reality and the bottom line that she is saying, is that wherever they're coming from illegally, they're getting lost in the vast land mass of California. But what I heard, which was most egregious to me, was that they're leaving their children. They're just dropping off their children, which balloons the foster care system. And I wanted to go in order, but since you brought that up, and Kiana, I want to bring you up next, because I always see Chicago very similarly to some of the issues that are being experienced in California. But yeah, since you brought up the fact that some of the parents are bringing their children and leaving them at the border, and where they automatically go into foster care, can we talk about your last point about CPS? Do you mind?
Sure,
Go ahead.
sure. Child Protective Services. So, in the state of California, and it's all over the country, as I've found out in Twitter spaces, meeting people throughout the country that share the same lineage. In the state of California, we literally have a case going on right now where adoptive parents outside of the culture adopted 2 Black children who were forcibly taken out of the home with parents. The parents domestic situation. The children were taken, the parents were separated, the mother came back for the children, and the mother has been strong armed about getting her children back. She had to take classes, she took the classes. In the meantime, the grandfather, paternal grandfather, the maternal grandmother, and a paternal aunt were all trying to fight to get the children taken back into the family out of California Child Protective Services. And CPS, Child Protective Services in California, fought the family, told the grandmother that her age, she couldn't take the children, told the aunt that she had other children within a home and that that would be too much of a bearing on her to take the children. Um, and the mother at the same time is going to the classes and doing everything. Unbeknownst to her, they adopted both of her children out, a 2-year old and a 4-year old. And so she and the father and the paternal and maternal grandparents have been fighting the state of California about illegally taking the children from their home, stripping them of their parental rights, and adopting their children out. In the midst of them fighting for this, both of the children have disappeared.
Oh
Two
my gosh.
who
Go on.
are not foundational Black Americans are in court right now fighting a murder case, even though they have not found neither one of the boys' bodies. Um, and in the midst of that, another foundational Black American mother comes forward and says that her 2 sons were also with this family, and she has been fighting the system trying to get her sons back. She is a married mother trying to get her sons back. They were taken from her over something at the school, and it very minimal. And she has been looking for her children who were placed with the same family for the last 5 years, and the state of California has not helped this woman locate her family for the last her 2 children for the last 5 years, and they are 10 years old and 12 years old. So currently right now in California, we have 4 missing Black boys who were taken by CPS and placed, and we don't know if they're dead or alive. And so we want CPS, we want the same protection for our children under the state and the federal government that the Native Americans have with their Native American Protection Act that they got, I believe, in 1978, where the community and the family would absorb the children and handle with coordination with the state of replacing the children in a foundational Black family or within that family in a safe environment, and take all these ridiculous restrictions off of um, reuniting children with the family that is not experienced by anyone else in the community. Because with those children that are being left at the border, once they come into the system, then the parents are coming back and claiming the children and anchoring themselves into the country by now having a relationship with those children that they're being bonded back with. And we don't have that same kind of protection. We're fighting to keep our children in healthy Black families, and they're being stripped away from us. We had a gay, white, lesbian couple that adopted 6 Black children and decided to commit suicide off the coast of California and drove a van with themselves and the children and killed all of the Black foundational children. We just want the children back in our community, back in our care, and we want protection from the federal government that the Native Americans have for their children. It's not healthy for us.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry that you had to share all of that with us, because for me, I feel like those should be the issues that elected officials, and specifically Black elected officials, the Congressional Black Caucus, should be fighting for. But we everyday people don't even know it, don't know the intricacies that you just spoke about. And now I understand why that was such an important issue for you all to be pulling up about. I mean, you all are giving so much information, and I'm so hopeful that someone who was questioning, well, why are they doing this? I hope there's some clarity being made tonight, because it's not at all frivolous. These are things that, even if and when, not if, but when we do receive cash reparations, there's so much repair that has to be done that they could never put a figure to.
And
And
I
go ahead. Hmm.
brought there because some of the questions we've been getting about the pull up and pushback is that people are saying that we're dividing the reparations fight. No, we're not, because reparations is about reparations, getting tangibles, but it's also about the repair.
Right.
And the repair are the other items that are strangling the black community. So we're not all dividing the reparations fight. We are fighting for reparations and we're fighting for the repair. And those two are synonymous with each other. You have to repair us. You've committed medical apartheid on us,
Wow.
educational apartheid on us, redlining on us. So you have to repair the community. And one of the ways to repair the community is to repair the family and to keep that form of the government from infracturing the family. Illegal immigration, that's part of repair, because as I stated, it's affecting us with the safety, with sex crimes, and with working and being able to take care of our family. So all the other points on the 5 points of the pull up are all about the repair, which coincide with the reparations, the tangibles, the cash payments.
Absolutely. And I don't want to speak for anyone who is here tonight, but I do believe, in terms of dividing, look, there's so much work for us all to do, and plenty of it for us all to share. It doesn't have to be on the shoulders of any one person. Even though I believe that we all here support the work of the California Reparations Task Force, I don't believe that any of us believe that that's the extent to which we can do this work. I think there's so much, even as AW was talking about the education piece, awareness, raising awareness, and also Marcus about what he's preparing to do. There's so much that people just, I'm talking about Black people like you and I, they don't know that this, what we're doing, is very, very necessary. Years ago, I worked in child protective services, and I remember cases, but not, you still, in sharing just now, had to bring it back to a place where I'm like, okay, I need to still fight for those babies, for those babies, parents not to lose their parental rights. And so this is very important. I feel this is very important what you're doing, and I so totally appreciate what you all are doing, because these are issues that I believe we could all agree need to be addressed. And I feel that they're not being addressed politically. But what you're doing by pulling up to these state houses and other critical places where um, elected officials show up themselves, such as in Detroit, with a jazz festival that is commonplace there. They show up, you get their ear that way, you get the wheels turning. And it's not the it's not the only time, but I think the awareness that you all are seeking to raise is very good. Yeah, stick around. Let me bring Kayana in. Kayana, hi. You've been so patient, and I'm so glad you're here. Can you share with us what you're doing out in Chicago?
Hello, absolutely, and thank you so much for having us on. So in Chicago, we will be pulling up on the 23rd at the Federal Plaza Building, downtown Chicago. Um, and like was mentioned before, all the key points are going to be the focus. And we're just like, just trying to get the message out, trying to get awareness out to the people.
Yeah. Everybody looks at Chicago, and all everybody ever really thinks about is the violence, the violence, the violence. I've been in spaces that you were in or you were hosting where you really shed light on the reality. That's why I thought to bring you all on, because what we see, or what the media wants us to see, is not always what's really happening And we need people who are on the ground, who are actually in those spaces, in those places rather, to tell us the real truth. But there has to be a desire to have the truth, don't you think? I mean,
Yeah.
I look at your city and I mean, I'm not trying to tell Chicagoans who to vote out for mayor, but you guys, you all are really challenged. Like we're challenged here in New York, like they're challenged in Chicago. Are there any people, are there any elected officials that you feel want to hear our reparations message in Chicago?
Um, no, but this is the reason why we're pulling up because I really feel like at this point we can't continue to wait on these elected officials. We are gonna have to start positioning ourselves to put our own people into place.
Absolutely.
So we really have to get the word out. We really have to get the message out, and just get people to understand that there is um, um, a fight ahead, and that we are willing to fight, and we are willing to do it together. I think that one of the main things happening in the city, which is plaguing a lot of the cities across the nation, is that people just don't know. You know what I mean? People are just not aware of what's going on a grassroots. So we really have to get the word out, and I think that that's going to be a major piece of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm really glad you used that word grassroots. I've always like prided myself in being a grassroots type person. Why? Because I don't ever want to be considered someone as someone who will sell out. So the way you distinguish between being grassroots and so-called selling out is that if I, a grassroots organizer or leader, come to someone who, excuse me, who's more mainstream, and I present to them what we're doing here, and they're like, well, no, I can't do this because we're trying to do it this way or we're doing that way. um that's a problem for the community. It's not just a problem for me, it's for the community. And so I don't ever want to get too far away from the community, so that the community can a continue to trust me, but so that I can remain humble, low enough to do the work and high enough to make moves. And so that's somewhere in the middle. And I think that that's why what you all are doing is so incredible to me, because this is the grassroots. I've heard someone mention Narcan and Cobra. Most of the listeners probably don't know who those organizations are, but guess what? Let me tell you guys, they're the organizations that are in full support of HR 40, which is simply a study that's been around for almost 40 years or 30 plus years, um, to study reparations. It does nothing. And if it's a bill that's been tossed back and forth for that amount of time, and no study has been done when we know that there has been, um, the intent has never been to repair us. And that's why these organizers have said, we're going to push the needle, just like what Kiana said. You know what? None of them really in Chicago, so we're going to do it anyway. And that's the attitude that we have to have in order to see the changes that we want to have occur. And we have to actually start replacing people who look like us but are not representing us at all. And so after they finish with the pull up, we're going to all get together and start working on the replacement piece, because that's a very important piece. That one requires a lot of financial resourcing, and but we're going to get it because we have it. If the will is there, it will happen. Let me bring aside you.
Before you move on, I just want to bring up, hey, Miss Fly Girl, I just wanted to touch on, because when we were talking about immigration, I
Mhm.
just wanted to touch on one piece. There was a study that came out by FAIR, which is the Federation for American Immigration Reform. And they actually came out with information today that due to Biden's open borders, it's going to cost us tax-paying Americans somewhere in the area of $20.4 billion a year in taxes. And that's on top of the 140 billion that we are already paying for from the previous immigration, the lack of control on immigration. So I just wanted to throw that piece in there also.
Wow, that's a fair article, and I think I've seen it floating around. I just didn't have an opportunity to read it today. If you're on Twitter, if you are in this space, if you're listening on Twitter, she said the Fair organization just released a report stating that we're going to be losing $20 billion a year due to illegal immigration that's been happening since Biden came into office. And let's not forget that today the market had a little bit of a crash, 1,200 points. And that's speaking directly to the inflation. And don't get me started on that because it's like a planned detonation, guys. This inflation, it's like a planned detonation of a bomb. Um, not Anthony Blinken, I'm sorry, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, has said at least twice in raising those interest rates that we want to stop people from spending. We want to slow the economy. So when you say straight up you want to stop people from spending, what happened during the shutdown? People were able to save money because we weren't going out to work. We weren't paying for food outside of our homes. People were able to catch their bills up. So when he says he's not talking about going to the supermarket, he's not talking about treating yourself in the mall with a new dress or pair of shoes or a handbag. He's just saying the big ticket items because it's the big ticket items. Purchasing a home became that much more expensive. Remember, we had millions of acres, about 20 million acres of ownership that was lost. So now you're raising the interest rates to now the average is like 5.5% to purchase a home. If your credit is not stellar, guess what? Your rate is going to be that much higher. And if your savings is not tight, which where do you get the money if employers really aren't hiring for jobs that can sustain you? So, what we're talking about here in the fullest picture of reparations is so very important. And what Kiana just shared about the FAIR report today is also important. You got to start thinking about the numbers, people. You got to start thinking
Mhm.
about the numbers. I think Senator Schumer said today, or we heard word that he's going to do an emergency extension of the budget through the end of December. Why? Every year we have to have an emergency extension of our budget. I forget what they call it, continuing resolution, I believe, CR, to the end of the year. But when the president asked for another $2 billion because Zelensky asked for it, or $13 billion because Zelensky asked for it for Ukraine, that money just comes up out of the air. I
Mhm.
make it make sense. That's in the files of make it make sense, and it doesn't make sense to me. So thank you so much for sharing that. Let me bring Miss Patience on here. Let me bring her on. She has been so patient. Hello, hello,
Hi.
hello.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm not going to take too much time. I'm just going to go over the basics. I represent Texas,
Texas,
the Lone Star State.
State.
This is the state where the reason why we celebrate Juneteenth, right?
Yep.
So this is very important. Texas has a huge history in reparations. Federally, Texans are owed reparations, and the state owes us. We should be getting two sets of reparations with interest because we were so late in the game learning that we were freedmen. We were free. So what we will be doing on September 24th, we will be pulling up in the Texas Capitol in Austin, Texas on the 24th, and we will be pulling up with the Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club. It is a Black owned gun club, and they do outreach. They work with reparations. This will be their third annual walk in Austin, Texas. It's going to be near the George Washington Carver Library. And then we're going to do a walk. It's called a Unity Walk all the way up to the Capitol, where we will be speaking and pulling up. The founder and president of the gun club is Mr. Nick Bezel. They do a lot of outreach work, and currently they are on their way to Mississippi this weekend to do a town hall where they will be talking about the water in Mississippi that's affecting the Black community. So that's what Texas is doing. It's very important that we pull up in Austin. Our ancestors built that capital. All of the
Yes.
capitals around the United States, the ancestors built the capital.
Right. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. But let me ask you about that fifth point that I sort of skipped over. Is like the fourth in your list, but the anti-Black hate crime bill and federal
Mhm.
protection for Black Americans. Can you speak a little bit about that? Because for me, that's a very personal thing that I believe that we should continue. Well, not continue. We should definitely fight for in this nation. Can you talk a little bit about that point, please? It's the only one we
Yes,
haven't talked about.
I think that is very important. I think that it's ridiculous that given the history in this country that foundational Black Americans have not been deemed a protected class. Given the history, the known history, such as your Black Wall Streets and other places where we have received, where we have been terrorized.
Right.
So the fact that we are still fighting to be listed or viewed or protected to be a protected class is it's unreal, and that is very important that we become a protected class. I mean, in the last 10 years, we've had people weaponize our skin color, calling the police in the park, saying, I'm going to call the police on you because
Yep.
they know that our skin is viewed as criminal or a threat.
Yep.
And so, whenever you do that, you are become an accessory to a possible murder. And so you should be charged with a hate crime, because you're weaponizing our skin color. We have a system where police officers are protected. They're protected when they kill us because all they have to do is say, I felt endangered. I felt my life was in danger.
Hmm.
Never mind that you can apprehend a white person that has been, you get a call and you know that they have already killed and they're armed and dangerous, yet you can apprehend them without laying a single bullet into their body, and they can go through the law. They can go through the law, but you're being the jury, the law, you know what I'm saying? Like it's ridiculous.
It is. And I for me, it became much more clear that we did need, or that we do need, a law that protects us,
Yes,
specifically after the Buffalo massacre, you know.
yes, yes.
And I am so offended by elected officials who have not said, you know what, we did one for Asian Americans.
Hmm.
Now it's time to do one for Black Americans. I also got offended. Look, it's been a day of offense, right?
Hmm.
But I saw where the mayor of Louisiana is preparing, or maybe she already has, to make a formal apology for the lynching of 11 Italian Americans, I think back in 1890 or somewhere thereabout.
Hmm.
And the headline that I read said that that was the single worst lynching in this country's history, or something to that effect. When in Alabama, and I'm so sorry those brothers are not here who were in Montgomery yesterday, and I've shared this before, in doing genealogy study with my cousin down in Montgomery, and she shared with us that she had visited the lynching museum and found one of our ancestors there. So it's very offensive. And I'm
Hmm.
not saying that their lives, that they should have lost their lives. I'm not saying that at all. It's just the way we are just always overlooked. For everybody else's life matters more than
Hmm.
our lives here. And we built this country, as you said. And it's
Hmm.
just so offensive. It's so offensive, but we can't get elected officials, especially those who look like us, to agree with us. And so what you all are doing is awesome. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, yeah, and that's, particularly in Texas, Sheila Jackson Lee, who has been in office far too long. it's time for her to go. She is in support of the HR 40, and we are not supporting that. She is not foundational Black American. Her lineage goes back to Jamaica. If you're going to be in office representing Black people, you need to represent Black people from A to Z. Um, Not just the surface where Washington is okay with it, where you don't want to press any buttons and you don't want to make anybody uncomfortable like your Joe Biden's.
Mhm.
So it is time for Sheila Jackson Lee to leave. We are looking to try to find a candidate in Texas right now. Right now, election is going on. Beto O'Rourke is running against our current governor. But you know what? As much as I don't like the governor, Beto is not getting my vote until he starts talking about tangibles. My shirt says no reparations, no vote. And that's the type of energy that we're on in Texas.
Good.
So we've got a lot on the line right now. They're trying to change the curriculum to change in our schools to say they want to take the wording slavery out and replace it with involuntary displacement. So
Wow,
I mean, just doing that right there is trying to take us out of the game of receiving our reparations.
that is just
So
madness. That is madness. And
yes. And
ah,
I would like to add one more thing about our Juneteenth celebrations. We are talking about one of our points, we've talked about it earlier tonight, is the delineation. Now, what has happened with our Juneteenth celebration, it's kind of been co opted, it's kind of been turned into a Pan African thing, and it's not focusing on the Black people in this country and the lineage, those who have went through chattel slavery. That is the importance. We've kind of gone away from that and just kind of celebrated the entire Black diaspora, but we're not focusing on the importance of why we are celebrating Juneteenth. These are Black Americans who built this country with blood, sweat, and tears and terror.
right.
So that is very important, you know.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I saw a lot of that through, not just in Texas this past year. I saw a lot of that throughout the nation. And I think that there's so much education that we have to do around everything. It's like exhausting just the ignorance that we're fighting, but we stand to do that and to keep fighting and to try to make known what isn't known with
Mhm.
our people. And
Yeah.
I'm so happy that all of you've come. I'm not sure if I've gotten everyone. Um, oh, okay. Let me run that. The website for everybody. Yeah, I'm so happy that all of you took out your time and your patience here with me trying to get all of you in here tonight to talk about this very important movement that you're involved with and that you're making on behalf of all of us. Look, it's like it's okay that everybody doesn't agree with something that I do or something that you all are doing. In the end, it's going to benefit us all. And you know, some if you're not a biblical person, Gideon thought he needed everybody. He wanted 30,000 soldiers to go with him, and God was like, "You don't need all those people. I'm gonna give you this amount." And it was, I think it was 300 or something like. It was just a small amount compared to what he thought he needed, and he was victorious. And so, you guys, you ladies, just go ahead and be victorious in this, because if nothing else, you are raising awareness within our community as to the real problems. And let me say this: a year ago, no, in 2020, they polled Black Americans and asked them. They gave them a list of issues. The CBC did. The Congressional Black Caucus did. What are your primary issues? What are the issues that matter most to you? And reparations was the top issue for those people who were polled, Black Americans who were polled. Um, but since then, there has been disdain from the same body that commissioned the study or the poll, the Congressional Black Caucus, as it relates to reparations, unless you're speaking about HR 40. And they all know that HR 40 is nothing. It's, I mean, the studies they're all over the place. The studies have been done by white organizations. The studies have been done by Indian organizations. The studies have been done by Black American organizations. The study has been done. It is now time to move towards the tangible, as you were just saying. And we've just got to hold them accountable. And if they won't allow themselves to be held accountable, then just like what Kiana said, we have to replace them. And I think that's going to be our major push. And you all will find your candidate in Texas. You may not find them for now, of course, because the election is upon us now. But we all have to collectively look for candidates. I'm not hopeful in New York. I'm just, I'm just not. There's a lot of money given to candidates here. And of course, when you're given a lot and you're starting from nothing, you owe a lot of people. So they're not going to forego seeing their return on investment for whoever the candidates are or the elected officials are. So I'm not hopeful here. But where I can put my energy in your states, that there may be some hope, I'm happy to help in doing that. But New York, it's like a lost cause. It really is, in terms of getting proper representation for our issues. Those on the state level who I like, and when I say I like, some of them I like personally, but who are really good legislators, I support them. I roll and rock with them. And a lot of the stuff I know that I say in public, in social media, may make them uncomfortable, but they know that I'm for my people. And I think everybody has to respect that. But I'm not hopeful for getting a lot of the changes in legislation that you all are pushing for. So therefore, I want to say thank you to all of you for doing what you're doing. And I want you to be safe, as my sister had said earlier. Be safe wherever you go, because this is not something that this nation wants to give to us. The brothers yesterday, and Yaya, I'm gonna try to bring you back up because I don't think they're here. But yesterday, the brothers, Heaven, I'm gonna drop you out so I can bring her back up. Um, um, the brothers in Alabama yesterday, they were talking to I think she worked for the police department down there, but she wasn't an officer. She was having her lunch. The video that you sent me, Yaya. And she was listening very attentively. We just need people to listen to us, right? We need people to listen to us. And quite frankly, she was Caucasian. We have to stop. I'm just so turned off by the Congressional Black Caucus. Maybe it's time for us to start talking to the white politicians. I'll talk to the black ones still, but we've been talking to them, right? We've been talking to them. Exactly. She's saying tangibles. She's saying, cut the check. I was so proud of Dr. King's daughter, Bernice King, on the anniversary on the 28th of August, because she tweeted for the first time since I've been following, at least that I recall seeing, for the first time since I've been following Be a King, his cut the check speech. I have never seen it before. And so I'm encouraged by her doing that, because she understood that her father is much more and was much more to our community than the sanitized version that we've been taught in school, that they've been pushing on us all our lives. He was so much more than that. And Dr. King truly deserves his props, because he actually gave his whole life. It was when he started asking for tangibles for us, and not just the vote. It wasn't just about the vote. It was about tangibles. It was about the land that we've lost and have had taken from us, and the dignity and the lynchings and all of that that Dr. King was talking about. And so I really give her props tonight for having put that up there. And I had never seen it. We all put it, but I had never seen it coming from the Be a King account. And I think that speaks volumes. As we are Immortal, I am so sorry we could not get you in here. I love to hear you speak, and I wanted to hear you speak. Yaya, you can tell us what state or city he's representing if you like. I want to wrap this up. We've been on here an hour and a half or a little bit more, but I do hope that you all were gratified by the information shared. This is not, according to what I've heard from them, This was not thought about frivolously. They have thought about this deeply. When I think about those, I'm going to have nightmares tonight, probably based upon the immigration stories you just shared and the foster care stories you just shared with us. Yeah, yeah. But we needed to hear it, right? We need to be made uncomfortable in our comfort, and so you've done that tonight. You achieved that goal, at least with me. I am uncomfortable, and I certainly support all that you all are doing. Um, Texas, I have to support you all by buying one of your items. I got you. I got you. I've already supported New Jersey because that's the closest state to me, and I'm unable to attend. But look, proof is in the pudding. We have to support each other. We need the resources. And so while we don't have them, we don't have the deep pockets some of these other super PACs have, or organizations that raise funds for politicians. Guess what? It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. The more we share what we're doing, and I'm not just talking about these reparationists here. There are so many more of us that are not on this show tonight because this was strictly about what they're doing as a collective across this country. And they are not even all who are represented in states. So I'm going to wrap it up by saying, remember, this is the last week that I am on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. because my schedule has changed. There will be interviews on Tuesdays, but they will be pre-recorded. If you are interested in continuing to follow Black Talk platform, you'll have to follow us on Fridays before you get ready to get up and go out clubbing or whatever you do to have fun on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And with that said, I want to thank all of my guests tonight. I'm so proud of all of you. Woo woo to Alabama yesterday. Woo woo. I think they're coming through to A Dub in Detroit, and Marcus, who's coming through on the 25th or the 24th. Let me start with the dates. Heaven Nicole, butchered her name, Kayana, and Miss Fly
The
Girl.
24th.
24th. Let me get these things right. The 24th. Conscious, all of you, all of you for being here tonight. Let me give you Yaya the last word as um the organizer for North Cal. That's good enough, right? The organizer,
That's
the
good
lead
enough.
organizer, because I don't want to
That's
get in
it.
trouble with these titles here.
No, the code is the leader. The
Code is the
code is the
leader.
leader.
Okay.
The code is the leader. These are just ideas. This is a grassroots push. This is lineage based. We share a common lineage. We're fighting not to be erased. That's why we're fighting for delineation. We are a unique ethnic cultural group of people, us Black Americans here. We've had many titles, and all those titles are lineage based. We do not want to share them with anyone, even if we retire them. We are fighting for reparations, straight tangibles, and the repair. Part of the repair is we need a Black protection. We need a protective class for Black Americans. They cannot kill us without impunity. We also need to stop illegal immigration. It is smothering us, not even just the Black community, it is smothering our country. And we do not have control over criminals running around here. Lastly, a protection for our children from CPS. We want the same protection for our children that the Native Americans have for their children under federal protection. We're pulling up all September. We are grassroots. Like we said, there is no leader. We are a group of people that share a lineage, and we're fighting our genocide.
We want to thank you so much for you all doing this, because guys, everyone who's listening who's not necessarily planning to support them physically, or you can't, because you're just hearing about it tonight, but that is why I wanted to do this, so that we can get people to support them wherever you've heard a city or state being represented. Definitely consider, if you are available, pulling up next week on the 24th with them, or the 23rd. Who is that? The 23rd. Kayana, that's you, the 23rd. Yep. Definitely consider showing up for them. But I did put their website up before, and you can definitely donate. Each city, state has their own page. Pull up September 2022.com, and you can support them. Let me run it again because we're at the end of the tape. Pull up September 2022 Everybody, support
And
them.
you can find out about every state at that website. Go to that website. It's going to tell you about every state. You can contact every state leader. You can volunteer. You can volunteer services. You can find out where they are and you can show up and support that way. Please share the hashtag, share the videos. We also have an IG and it's Pull Up September 2022. All our videos, all the state interviews, everything is there. Yes. And thank you, Brother Immortal, for that website. It's one centered location for all the information.
Excellent. Well, I want to say thank you to Facebook followers. We've just added LinkedIn last week, and so we're hopeful that you all are also paying attention. Of course, YouTube and Twitter. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Please be safe and be mindful that everybody is not for what we're doing. And so I applaud you for being those ones who step out, and you are going to be greatly rewarded for your efforts. Let me meet you all in the green room, those of you who are still here, and I'll say good night to the audience. Hold on, guests. I will be right with you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.